Hello, everybody. Albert Vartanian and James Sharman here with you. And James, if things went according to plan, we'd be recapping Canada against Panama, a friendly that should have gone down this past weekend, but it didn't. Canadian players refused to play because of an ongoing issue over player compensation. And obviously the players are using this moment as leverage. This is probably the strongest moment for them to do that. But was going on strike now the right move?
Yeah, that's a question. I mean, unless you're inside those negotiations, it's tough to say. Obviously, they're very pointed at this point, very acrimonious. The players felt they had no choice. That's why they went public to begin with, which you may agree or disagree with, but these negotiations get nasty. And sometimes they feel their back's against the wall. They're not getting what they want. They have to go public. The CSA weren't even aware the game was being cancelled when that was dropped. So that's how nasty these negotiations are. There's no love lost there at all. For the Canada Soccer to have that impromptu press conference at 8:15 last night to respond to that, a very emotional President Chris Bontis says everything as well. But yeah, the players have demands and they deserve to be compensated. They've had a fantastic qualifying campaign. No one disagrees with that. Canada Soccer will say, yeah, we get that, but there's only so much money in the kitty. 10 million is coming to Canada Soccer from the World Cup outside of prize money once you get to the World Cup, outside of private equity coming in from corporate Canada. About 10 million, $2 million of that is going to logistics for on the ground. That's transportation, that's a base camp, that's tickets, etc., etc., etc. So basically they're fighting for $8 million. A lot of that, the CSA will say, we need to invest in the program to grow the program. It's not a lot of money. Yeah. The players are saying, no, yeah, we get that, but we also deserve the right compensation. So I see both sides of this argument, but I think both sides are also withholding a lot of information here. Yeah. Canada say it's 30%. We'll give you 30%. We'll give the women 30%. We're good. The players are saying we want 40%. And then is that net? Is that gross? Right? Big difference if it's net or if it's gross. So it's very cloudy, very murky, and quite frankly, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And I'm not going to ask you which side you take. I don't think we need to do that.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think everyone is, right? I think I tweeted out when it first came out that, they weren't having a training session, and I was kind of siding with the players, not knowing the whole story. Now I don't know which way to go. But instead of that, on a global scale, because this story has now gone global, Canada going to the World Cup, they're trying to become this, footballing nation that can be represented alongside everyone else who's going to the World Cup, all of those other nations. How embarrassing is this? Because right now, if you hear some of the comments, especially from the Panamanian manager, he's saying, we came all this way for a training session. I've missed games because of bad weather. But a situation like this I've never seen.
Yeah, exactly. It's very embarrassing. And you couple that with the Iran situation from a week ago when that game was cancelled. 2 games cancelled within a week. I mean, who wants to come to Canada now to play soccer matches, right? It's globally embarrassing. Just when Canada's gained some respect and has turned the eye of the international football culture, this happens, And often we see it, with lesser nations before World Cups. Players threatening to go on strike because they want a deal or a new deal. You don't expect that to happen here in your own backyard, and here it is happening. So it's, I guess, welcome to the real world, Canada Soccer. Back at the World Cup, it's not going to be plain sailing.
No, and one of the key things, too, is on the pitch, John Herdman, this is going to cost them a lot of preparation time for the World Cup.
Killer.
Right? So you're missing training sessions. It was 16, now it's down to 14. And they might not be playing their upcoming Nations League matches, which can have other issues attached to that as well. And how much does that affect their preparation for November?
Yeah, they only had 16 training sessions between this window and the World Cup. 16, that's it. Down to 14. I'm not sure what's happening today. Yeah, it could be down to 13, right? So it's not ideal. John Herdman says it's imperative we prepare properly for this tournament. Every session is critical. So they're losing out a lot right now. You really hope they figure this thing out by Thursday and by the Curacao match. Even if it's a case of the players saying, listen, we'll play this game under protest. We're not happy, because you can't be quitting on more games. CONCACAF then get involved. Then there's fines and there's sanctions involved. That's the last thing Canadian soccer needs right now.
Yeah, and money's an issue. You can't be giving out some more money for fines. We should probably talk about the fans. They're not really being talked about a lot. A lot of traveling fans who went with their family. The fans in Vancouver, I think they deserve a little bit more than an apology here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, though. I mean, they should be absolutely furious. they're the victims here, right? People traveled across the country.
Yeah.
There were still people walking up to the stadium and getting in the stadium after the letter had been posted,
Yeah.
right? And then there was a quick little release from Canada Soccer saying, games cancelled, more info to come, which didn't come for another 3 or 4 hours, right? That's not good enough.
No.
I'm sorry, it's not good enough. So they've got every right to be absolutely furious. As always, the fans end up being the true victims out of all this situation. And even Vancouver, right, who are campaigning to be a World Cup host city. June 16th, we find that out.
Yeah.
If it's going to be Toronto, Edmonton, and Vancouver. They missed out on all the qualifying because of where it was. They got a chance to really showcase themselves to FIFA, to the world. Man, we can put on a good show. We can fill these stadiums, and hopefully it still happens against Curacao.
Yeah.
But right now, we don't know. It's 50-50.
Yeah, it was going so well, James. But yes,
going
that game
so well.
is supposed to happen this upcoming Thursday, June 9th, against Curacao. I should mention, I want to read this quote, that if Canada doesn't play, CONCACAF regulations say Canada could be expelled from the competition. A withdrawal, meanwhile, would result in a fine of at least $100,000 US, which can really hurt the federation heading into the World Cup. Let's hope that doesn't happen, and we're here next time talking about those games.